Hey guys, you wanted an update? Well, anyway, it's been about a year, I think, now. Soon I get this car. I know it was the end of summer when I got it. I'll have to look at my uploads. But it's been about a year now, I think, since I've had this car and done a lot to it. But update on it, I guess. I've had a lot done to it recently. Keyword, I've had a lot done to it, meaning I really didn't do anything myself. Where to start? First off, ball joints. When I was underneath the car, this side it was a lower ball joint, that side was the upper. They were the same ball joints that came from the factory. This thing's getting near that age of 30 and near 164,000 miles, so I figured, you know what, I'll just have those replaced just to be sure. After that was done, I mean, both of them need replaced. You seen the video that when I showed it up there, I could grab it and shake it around, and that side, I can actually put in a picture. Alright, you seen the picture. Yeah, that, some guy, it looks like he was in there before. There was a zip tie on there. Just, yeah, it didn't hold up, just say that. And there was a bunch of noise coming from up there. I wasn't sure if it was the CV shaft, but considering there was grease everywhere, that was my hunch. Otherwise, wheel bearing. Turned out to be a wheel bearing anyway, but I went ahead and tried to change out that CV shaft and got started on making a video. Problem is, there are fasteners they use on the inner side of that bolts the actual axle to itself. They're all Allen head, and you know, you can imagine the giant CV shaft here and the 6 Allen heads near it. Well, my socket can't fit in there perfectly perpendicular. It had to sit at a slight angle, and because it was at a slight angle, all I could do was round out the freaking heads of that. So I had to have a shop do that because I really had nothing. I looked, and I didn't even have a freaking metric Allen set for some reason. I knew I had one before, so not there anymore. And anyway, I wouldn't be able to torque it down because, you know, I can't use my torque wrench for some reason. Because I can't put my socket there. So I had that done, and still made noise, but anyway, had that done. Still some noise coming from the front. So it's like, okay, definitely wheel bearing for sure now. So brought it back up there to have the wheel bearing done. But you're still trying to slide it off. So I had the wheel bearing done. Those were press-in type wheel bearings. I really couldn't do those. I don't have a bearing press. I have a tool to remove it, but all I have is a vise and maybe trying to mix some hammers and sockets. And you remember the Ranger video if you watch my videos. Rear axle. I didn't feel like going through that shit again. So definitely had to shop do that. And while I was there, I figured, you know what, screw it. You can do the front and rear differential, do the oil changes in that, and go ahead and screw with the carb tuning and ignition timing. I never done the ignition timing because I don't have a timing light and didn't really feel like buying it for just one use and that, and or even bothering renting one. I did kind of fiddle around with the carb tuning a little bit when I did the carb swap, but never really got it perfect. But I had them do all that while doing the front wheel bearings, and drives great now. No more noises in the front. Doesn't drive perfectly straight. I think it needs a little bit of alignment. Kind of goes off the road a little bit, just a little bit though. But it drives great, sounds great. I also had an exhaust work done. I forgot to mention that. There you go. Catback exhaust. See my glass pack back there. I did ask for a dual exhaust, but he ended up putting a single on there because he didn't know it needed to be a dual exhaust for whatever reason. Translation never worked out, I guess. But it sounds nice anyway, and it's a quality looking job, so I'm not too terribly upset. But it is just literally the stock exhaust. My nice glass pack on there anyway. But it's not too noisy so far. It hasn't fully broken in yet. That's why I really haven't made a video. I don't think it's right to make a video of a exhaust that you really haven't broken in yet. So I'll wait for the exhaust to get loud and be fully broken in before I make a video. But so far it sounds nice. It's not too loud at all, and it's pretty much silent. Cruising down the road, you hear more noise coming from just going down the road. I still get that nice intake noise and everything. The engine, he fully tuned it to the best of his abilities, and it doesn't bog down anymore, and drives great now. It's just awesome driving now. He said try to put some premium fuel through it, see how it likes that. So I'll try putting some premium through it, see. Honestly, I don't think there's going to be much improvement because engine has a 8-to-1 compression ratio, I think. If not, it does now. It's an old engine. But yeah, that's a whole bunch of work I had done. Drove it home about an hour ago now, and drives great. Most of that stuff right down there is from the leaky gasket. But you can see one of my new CVs. You can see the Allen heads they use there. New lower. That upper looked like it was new beforehand anyway. Yeah, I just need to fix that leaky freaking gasket, the valve cover gasket. I need to actually use an aftermarket one because AMC didn't use all the bolt holes on Eagles for whatever reason. That's why they all leak. All of them leak until you buy the aftermarket valve cover. Radiator has a little leak in it. This car was overheated before. It was originally from Washington State and supposedly was used for towing boats. It has a hitch on it, and I think it's got the towing package complete. Because I think most Eagles don't even have a transmission cooler. This has a transmission cooler and probably 323 gears, I think. I've never really bothered reading the door sticker anyway, but considering third gear was trashed, has some soldering on the top of the radiator, and the reservoir cap's slightly melted, with some silicone around some of the front intake ports on the intake manifold, and the missing bell housing bolts, for the exception of 2 of them. I think this car was overheated at some point. The engine might have been pulled and quickly fixed. My guess. Probably from towing too many bolts. And there is some off-road damage even, which reminds me, there was a bunch of water in my front diff, which milk came out. That's what they said, but here, bumped into something, and you can see my transfer case skid plate. It did its job at one point. Bumped into something. I didn't really notice anything else other than that, though, so it was definitely off-roaded in its past. Here, get a good view of my glass pack. He said he couldn't think he could get a dual exhaust around this thing anyway, but I beg to differ. I think you can get it around there. I've seen it done on YouTube ones anyway. Yeah. It looks like a quality job anyway. Or what it is anyway. Yeah, it sounds nice, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, that's general updates to the car. It's runs smooth. Goes down the road nice, and I'll probably give you a driving update when I get around to making a proper exhaust video, hopefully before winter kicks in. And yeah, so figure give you guys a decent update an update on my car. I just have to kind of clean it up and throw some of my horsepower stickers on there. You have to fix that too. But good car. I bought it knowing it's going to need work anyway. I need shocks too. Front ones are right, just the rear ones are shot. I'm deciding whether or not I want to do the engine, next break from work, or suspension. because the bushings front and rear need to be done, and rear shocks. I want to get new springs because this is actually sitting low. Yeah, I remember this was a four-wheel drive car. It should be sitting at least another inch or so. And evidence of that is if you look at the front CV shafts. Wait on. That was my knees. I mean, they're sitting a little bit more level now. Before I got those short rod bushings, these were kind of angled upward, but they should be slightly down more. You can see it's kind of close to the bump stop even and everything. Yeah, it's actually sitting low. So, yeah, because these are small size tires. These are 205s, and it came with 215s for the most part. So, I'm thinking doing a suspension, getting that all done, next break, and then let the engine roll, because it's only leaking and it seems to be running fine now anyway. Just a little diesel sounding is all, because it's old in age. But it's a 4.2 AMC. 258 cubic inch. It's a good reliable motor. I can trust it. So, total work I had done on this car for about the year I had it. First thing I did was redo the audio system, because that's obviously the most important thing above all things, right? Transmission, transfer case, those were redone. Well, the transfer case was just resealed. That was totally fine. I did a carb swap, got rid of that electronically controlled junk, and put a new stronger coil and bigger cap plugs and rotor in there, and gapped the plugs accordingly. Got rid of all that spaghetti vacuum wiring mess, and I kept most of the parts, by the way, too, just in case. Still got them all in case, someone wants to return it to stock. The bushings, bearings, half shafts, oils, all did the engine oil once already. I'm going to do it again soon. Got a big old box of freaking Quaker State and a Wix filter. What else I do with this thing? Fix up some of the wiring for the fog lights. And the ball joints, of course, yeah. I think that's actually about it so far, but I only have so much money and time anyway. But it drives nice. No more stalling. Gets down the road, no problem. No more weird noises. Just leaks a little bit of oil. And a slight amount of antifreeze. Not bad for a nearly 30-year-old car that was beaten to shit to an unknown extent, driven across the entire country in said state, and then left to sit for a couple of years, only driven occasionally, and now it's a daily driver with 164,000 miles on it. Suppose these things are hella unreliable. I mean, sure, I had to spend a lot of money fixing on things, but show me any 30-year-old car with under 64,000 miles and it need a lot of work. This thing's a charm. It doesn't even have a lot of rust. I mean, when this thing was driven for the last couple of years, it sat up here in the rust belt. It was driven in winter. Because it's a four-wheel drive car. I mean, they freaking did their job in the factory getting rust proofing on. It's a solid body. So, that whole thing about AMC being unreliable, piles of junks is, as far as I can tell, just bullshit. Definitely awesome car. Hell, I'd recommend it as a starter classic car for someone looking for a project car, because parts are still available even through Rock Auto and whatnot, and Blazer Auto and everything. And they're not so valuable you can't daily drive them. I mean, the high value right now is 12 grand, so it's nothing too expensive. Easily affordable. You can pick them up for a few thousand still right now and spend a couple thousand refreshing them up and daily drive them. and have a badass, nice little car. I mean, won't be fuel efficient, but more fuel efficient than probably, say, a four-wheel drive truck. Kind of the point. Anyway, 15 minutes now. Enough rambling. Just giving you guys a nice update and talking about my car. Okay, that's enough J-Train shit. Thanks for watching, guys.